So really useful. I use it on a ton of my vocals as well. I really enjoy it. These are going to be the racks that I'm just going to give you guys all just for getting the template. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see from the title, yes, I am dropping a new Dubstep Ableton Live template for you guys for Ableton Live 11. It's going to be in the description link down below, but I quickly want to go over everything. That way you understand what's in the project, how it's routed, and how you can use it to level up your workflow like it has mine in like the last 3 to 4 weeks. Really recent change in my projects, but I'm getting really good results, and I feel you guys will get the same if you emulate kind of what I'm doing. Now I know it says dubstep, but that's just because how I have the synths routed, which we'll go over in a second. But you can use this on any universal genre as well. As you can see right next to my face, we have some free racks down here for you. I wanted to include some racks. We'll cover them lightly, and those are just a gift for me since, you know, it's close to Christmas. Merry Christmas on top of everything. Just want to give back more to you guys. So we're gonna deep dive this real quick. If I don't answer anything or if you have questions about it, like I said, comment down below, let me know. Make sure you like the video and feel free to subscribe if you're not, because a lot of you are not subscribed to my channel that watch my videos, and if you're watching a lot of my videos, you'll probably like more of my stuff. That being said, one last thing, you are going to need a few VSTs, which I'm going to pop up. You're going to need Clip Shifter, which is just a free soft clipping plugin that I use on my groups, and then I also use my master. Another thing that you might need, Shaperbox for Sidechain, but if you don't have Shaperbox, don't worry. I have a Ableton's native sidechain mechanic that I will use. A lot of things that have plugins, I made remakes, so in case you guys don't have the plugins, you can still get it out. Another thing is the Glade Syn. You'll need Pro Q3, and on the master, I also have a Ozone 9 imager, but I remade it sort of for Ableton stock as well. So you're going to also need Span, which is a free visual spectrometer. A hollow room reverb is what I have for Syn, but again, I made that with stock Ableton. So the two main ones you're gonna need is Span and Clip Shifter for sure. The other three are optional. So let's get into this. How I route my sidechain is very important. I use an instrument rack and route to my groups. So I have my cymbals, which are like my tops in my drum group. I'll show you here. You can see a sidechain here. I also just have a sidechain you can do yourself. You just automate the gain and you draw on your sidechain as well. It's just a utility sidechain. That's how I have all the substitutes for Shaperbox. Next, you know, it's in my synths as well, and those are just different curves to it. But that sidechain, all you have to do if you have Shaperbox is use C3 as your MIDI trigger, and you draw it to your drum group. There's tons of tutorials on that. I even have a tutorial on that. Let me actually pop up that tutorial if you don't know how to sidechain with Shaperbox and you have it. But let's go to the main bread about it. Let's go to the vocals, right? I made this very simple for you guys. The group is just low cut, because you never need low cut in your vocals, and limited. I don't mind limiting my vocals, especially in stacks and stuff. It's okay to preserve the dynamics. And here there's a vocal sauce by, oh, let me move my head. There's a little vocal sauce right here for you guys, which is like a Reed Stefan. I think he made this like years ago. I don't use it anymore, but it's a really good start to vocals. If you have no idea how to start, it's really good. Main vocal is going to be your main layer. You can add your harmonies and backup dubs and all that stuff already prepared in case you want to drop them in however you want. And that's as simple as the vocals. Drum group, I organize it in two different ones. You got your intro drums, which you'll put anything that's not your drop drums in here. And this just allows you to, if overall your drums and intro are a little too loud, you can turn down the whole group and it keeps it separated. First drop drums, your kick, snare, kick, clap, whatever you want to do. And then your cymbals as well. If you want to sidechain your cymbals, I personally don't, so this is turned off for me, but you could turn it on if you want to sidechain it or actually draw on your sidechain if you'd like. Another really cool thing about is I have this Syn down here called Drop Drum Bus. It's really good on snares and kicks in your drop. All it is a compressor at this threshold, looks like that, which you'll see in the project. And what it does is it makes your kick more punchy and parallel. It's like New York style or parallel compression. Make your drums punch a little more. That's a great way of doing so. So that is it for the drums. Next we'll go to the synths, and this is why it's really good for dubstep. Is because first of all you have an intro synths, and I broke it down to reference MIDI, which I use to write out like my tracks first. I like to get the MIDI down and then I plug them into my actual synths for the sound. And once again, I stole this trick from Ray Volpe. I'll link that video if you haven't seen that writing video. It's really good there. A piano and then an audio lane for you. The piano is just grand piano. In your intro synths, you'll see MBC, which just stands for multi-band compression here. Ableton stock, in case you want to compress stuff. Once again, you have your sidechain and your Ableton stock sidechain. The drop synths where it gets interesting. I separate my drops synths from no lows to low, so anything that's not going to have a sub versus has a sub. My no lows, this is going to be how everything comes in. So I have this EQ that looks fancy, but all it does is it's just a automated EQ that someone gave me, and it just has all these macros, so you can just quickly do everything you want to. Next is multiband compression. Next, you're gonna get my Way bass group rack, which has washout for like buildups, verb throws, which is stock Ableton reverb throw in there, and it's really good for like those push-pull hits in your drop. High pass, low pass, echo, fine tune to bring it up and down, utility gain, and your echo rate. Just all stuff you're probably going to be using on your bass group regardless. 100, and this is just a G clip remake that has Max for Live in it, I believe. I'm not sure who gave me this, but it's really, really convenient to use because it's just a clipper that you can actually see the waveform, and that just clips my group. Now you go to individual groups, they all look the same. They all have these 4 things. Once again, multi-band, the adjustment EQ, and G-clip. This is for chugs, my rhythmic basses. I have a sustain group, and I have fills, which are not that. And the reason why I have that is because say you have all your basses layered, you have your chug, your sustain, your fills all layered, and you want to just get one group for like say your own sounds. Well, then you can just solo your chugs, and I have a resampling lane that resamples out of your master, and you can just print that exactly. Or if you want to just get your sustain, or if you want your chugs with the sub saying they're falling, boom, now you can just resample anything out of the master, and from there you can, consolidate and make your own sample pack that way, which if you don't understand the consolidate way to make your own sample pack, once again, another video I'm going to link that's super useful for workflow, so you don't have to export your own samples and you can just quickly design a sample pack. For example, like you can make something very quick like this with all your samples, and I didn't have to export any of them. These are all mine. So this is why I really like this routing this way. It's very quick and efficient. And that's for no lows. Subgroup. Subgroup has my Way Dubstep sub bass I did I think it was like a month ago or something like that. That whole sub rack, which once again, if you want to learn more about the sub video, it's going to pop up. I know there's a lot of pop-ups, but that's because it's a lot of pieces going into this template that makes your workflow really good. This can do dubstep. It can do 808 style. There's a lot of versatile to it. And these are all routed to your drop synths, which once again are going to be soft clipped and sidechained together. Effects group. So low end effects, this is just effects that I want the low end. So it's an impact or something that I do want to preserve the frequency under 100. I have no low effects that I don't want to preserve any low end. So stuff maybe that's layered in my or not drop, like build with a sub drop or something where I don't want it clashing. Drop ambience is just stuff that's going to go generally in my drop, and it should be like 150 there, just layered in the background, the ambience there. From there, we have the resampling of sounds, and I already explained that. Now we'll go to the free racks that I have for you. I'll move me right here real quick. Okay, now that I'm out of the way. This first one is just a really intense OTT compression, but it really distorts and really pushes the sound. It's really good with sound design or makes something sound really full. Next one is the company vocoder. He gave this out years ago. It's really cool to put on basses to add like layering, however you want to use it. But it's just a vocoder into a OTT preset that he did that doesn't actually use the mid bands, just messing with the highs and lows. Next, I have a no sub split, which is literally just a frequency shifter that will, you can mess with the split if you want to be higher or lower. And then if you want to shift your highs, it'll shift your highs while preserving your low. If you're doing anything that's going to be changing the frequency and you don't want the sub to get affected, it's super convenient, really good workflow, and really easy to use and see by the 2 buttons. Snare reverb. I use this occasionally on my dubstep snares or future bass snares. It's just a parallel snare reverb that you can adjust the time and decay if you want, but you can just throw it on your snare. It still preserves the initial hit, but it'll add a wetness layer to it as well. And last is Waves double remake. If you know, Waves has a doubler for vocals. This is essentially doing the same thing, which is just causing slight phase differences, and they are slightly panned as well, right and left. So really useful. I use it on a ton of my vocals as well. I really enjoy it. These are going to be the racks that I'm just going to give you guys all just for getting the template. Let's go to the synths. Once again, reverb synth. This is really good for vocals. This is what I use the synth for. It's Valhalla Room stock, but I remade it with reverb, and it is sidechained to your main vocal. So whatever your main vocal is here, This reverb is getting sidechain to. Same with the fourth delay. It's getting sidechain to it. Next, the Glade stereo send is if you need something to have more stereo, you can use this send. And it looks like this, which is pretty much just a very, very slight delay and then boosting the stereo. And I remade it with an EQ. So if you don't have it, just turn on that and bada bing, you're good to go. And drop drum bus, we already went over. Those are my main sends I use. Lastly, for the master, I mix hot. As you can see, all these are at 0 for the groups. And so I turn down before it hits my master. I move my head out of the way. You can see that I just turned my whole pre-master down 6 dB before it goes in my master. And then in my mastering rack, which I did a 2-part video on how I mix and master my own tracks specifically, which if you haven't seen that, once again, go check that one out next, because it'll explain this whole mastering rack. And it's pretty much Ableton stock except for the clip shifter at the end and the Ozone 9 imager, which I use to actually just add stereo to my fields if I need to. But if you don't have Ozone 9, I remade that with a utility band. It's not as strong, but it gets pretty close. And this is the same thing, like how you have split bands here with your low mids and all that. So you have your low mid width, mids width, and your highs. Low mids, mids, highs. The sub is mono up to 150. And then you can even put your whole mix in mono to check the mono compatibility if you want to check it with this. No worries if you don't have Ozone, we have the replacement. From here, your typical stuff, span and Swiss to see your loudness. And that is the template, guys. I hope you guys enjoy this template. I hope it levels up your workflow. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you do get it, you can get it for free. Description below. Make sure to check out those other videos to kind of explain the other parts of it if you're not too familiar with either of my videos or have not seen those specific ones covering those topics. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Take care, and I'll see you next time.